It's King Redbeard here, playing Heat Signature, and I just thought I would try to share a trick that I've been working on for the past week and a half, ever since I discovered it by accident. So I was in a room getting something from a chest, and I pressed the wrong button, and with a concussion hammer in my hand, and it was on one of these off-world ships, uh, I went through the wall and hit a guard on the other side. And so I won't pretend to, and so I've been playing around with that, trying to reproduce it. I've gotten to where I can reproduce it on a fairly regular level. I'm still not 100%, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I understand everything to do with this trick. But it will work with any ranged weapon that you have. I've tried it with the concussion hammer and the wrench and let's see, what's the other ranged one? A sword. And it even works with a short blade if you can get somebody with enough range. Okay, so this is not the only way to do it, but it seems to work the best if you stand as close to the wall as possible, set a waypoint, and you can be moving or not, it doesn't matter, and then you hit somebody that's in range. Hopefully this works. Alright, so there. So this is actually a fairly skinny wall, so it's really easy to do with this type of wall. If you look at it, it's about 1 grid wide. But this will also work on things that are 2 grids wide, as I'm about to show you. This wall up here above this guy, I'll go ahead and I will go through the wall to hit him as well. Here, set my point. It doesn't matter what direction it is, it seems. It doesn't matter how far away it is, and you don't have to be moving. Hopefully this works. I've got a feeling it's not. So most of the time when you're going through one of these blocks that are two blocks thick, you won't actually hit the target. There are ways to hit the target that I've experimented with and I haven't been able to do on a regular basis, but most of the time you'll warp through and then you'll be stopped behind the target. Now, if that was something that I could reproduce on a regular basis as well, that'd be good, because quite frequently we have either the no-kill or the passive dailies where it would be useful to come through a wall without actually hitting the guy. But once again, that's something that I have not been able to do on a regular basis. The other note that I will make is that I have not consistently been able to do this through locked doors. It is possible, but even with the trick that I just did, that's the most consistent trick, I haven't been, I'm maybe 3 times out of 10 going through a locked door. But on the practice mode, it's kind of hard to get in that scenario, and also, whenever you're not in practice mode, it's really hard to get a guard to stand close enough to the door that he'll be in range. Now, I think this guy, I have a sovereign, so this guy may actually be in range of my short blade, and I may not get another chance to do that, so I'm going to go ahead and try to use the trick one more time with a short blade just to show you that that's possible. So in that case, you didn't get to see it because the short blade works so slowly, but I warped through, and then because I was holding it down, he executed another short blade attack and killed the guy. It wasn't just all one lunge, but the lunge was enough to pull it through. So obviously your short blade is about this wide when you're not X-Sovereign, which means that you might be able to get through this. I'm going to go ahead and reset the practice mode So this gives me the opportunity to say that I have not been able to get this to work on any glitchers ships. Even though you run into situations where sometimes these areas are less than 2 squares, I think I haven't been able to get it to work on glitchers at all. So we'll go on to the next one and the next one. Okay, so these guys up here, I'm not going to demonstrate this, but these are, what are those? 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks. It's not going to work on 4 blocks or 3 blocks most of the time. However, the other thing to know is that it can be at an angle. Especially when it comes to these guys, it seems like these 1 block ones are a lot less demanding. So see, I went through and I didn't hit the guy. I only went a particular distance. Also, angles don't seem to work well. You'd think that I could stand right next to this one and go through. I don't believe I can. I will try really quick. And I didn't go through. I think I actually did go through in that case. I think I went through here and it pushed me out to the side rather than pushing me out over there. So it's possible, like I said, I haven't figured this trick out, that you get through 1 block, and if you can get through part of the other one, then it's going to push you out to wherever the most reasonable place is. Let's see, is there anything else I can do on a ship with this configuration? No. The next thing I wanted to point out, and this is really where I've spent most of my time for the past few weeks. Remember I said that the easiest way to do this is to, that works on sovereign ships too, is to go right up next to the wall, which sometimes you have to do anyway since they're so far away. Go right up next to the wall, set a waypoint, or be following a waypoint, and then use your ranged weapon. You don't have to be right next to a wall. I am pretty sure on this guy I can be this distance or possibly even this distance and go through. So let me see, but it's not as consistent when I do it that way. Oops, it's gonna move. I'll still try to do it. So this is where I haven't been able to figure out the trick. I see there I was able to actually go all the way through. This is a 2 block, but there seems to be some gray area here, and you got to be in just the right place for that to work. Like similarly, you might say, what's the end of my range here? So I've got to be like here in order to get that guy. Excuse me. Yeah, it worked again. So I don't know. Let's see. Another thing. I wonder if I can get him to chase me far enough to demonstrate this without getting stabbed. Probably not. Okay, looks like I might be able to do it after all. So I'm going to get into this. This one. You get into this scenario here where you've got these single block barriers, and really that doesn't happen very often. And you do your little attack. Most of the time, when you go through, you'll end up right here. However, it's not always the case again. So since it's easier to do it that other way, I'm actually going to try to go all the way through. He's pretty close right now. So that time, I just went through. First, I can almost guarantee you, no, I'm not going to set a waypoint first, that I can go through here and hit him. So most of the time it seems like you skip through one block and you can maintain your momentum, whether that's at an angle or what. So what was my last point? Was that my last point? I don't think this one works for that. Okay, so here I may actually be able to go all the way through. I don't think so. Yeah, so I just went through this one wall. If we stand there for a little bit, maybe we can try to get a little bit further out. Yeah, it's not working. Let's see, is there a way that I can get into the... This would be really useful, well, it could be really useful when you're trying to get through a locked door, right? We can fairly, and I did this in a daily challenge pretty recently, there was a treasure room and it was kind of set up like this on a sovereign ship, only this was inside, and I just came in from the side and hit the guy. Noticed that I wasn't right next to the wall when I did that. I'm going to try to get something. No, that's not going to work. Yeah, this should work. Oh, I demonstrated that already. I'll do it at an angle anyway. That guy. Yeah. So just go through that way. But it would be really useful to go through a door, and based on the way the mechanics work, it seems like you ought to be able to, since that's just a single block. But there may be just a we see on a regular basis in the daily challenges the acceleration where you pull yourself along a wall and you have a concussion hammer since it recharges really quick in order to speed up, and you kind of bounce a little bit. I think doors must have a little bit less give than that, so you can't easily get through them on that first one. So like I said before, it's relatively difficult to get into that situation in a controlled way. I haven't chosen to do that. So I'm releasing this. I don't know if anyone really watches these. Maybe somebody can figure out the tip that's actually allowing that to happen, or maybe they can just use this to good effect to beat me even worse in the daily challenge than I get beat on a regular basis. That's all for today.